Hi, everybody. This is Gaynor Meilke, and this is Moving the Needle, Digital Transformation in the Accounting channel. And I am so happy today. I've got Deneen and Christine Triantos from Infinite Ties. And John, you're here with me too. So
Yeah,
welcome.
Hello.
thanks,
Thank you for
Gaynor.
having me.
Happy to be here. And so I'm John with Higgins Advisory. And, our whole purpose of these podcasts is to discuss moving the needle through the digital transformation. And a big part of that these days is client advisory, client accounting services. So really excited to hear what Deneen and Christine can have to share with us today about how to go about building that kind of a practice.
It's exciting because this is something that you've been working on for quite a long time, the FanCAS-Kit. So, Deneen, welcome. And do you want to tell us
Thank
a little
you.
bit about you for the few
Sure.
people who don't know you in the accounting channel?
Thank you. Yes. Well, we appreciate you having us. We love talking about moving the needle by building a CAS practice. And John, I think you mentioned what is CAS. You're right. There's different, some people call it client accounting services. Some people call it client accounting and advisory services. We are now calling it client advisory services. And I have been helping firms build a CAS practice for over 15 years. It started when I worked at CPA.com and we started helping firms embrace cloud technology. And that was back in '09. Firms weren't ready. QBO wasn't really QBO yet. Zero wasn't in the States yet. And back then, firms were very paper driven and not ready to embrace the cloud. So when I worked there, we built a CAS workshop. It was a 2-day workshop, and it was all the pieces of the puzzle. Christine, my now co-founder at Infinite Ties, very early on attended that workshop and started building CAS. And so we have now started Infinite Ties because we see that CAS is the fastest growing new revenue source for firms. But how do you do it? What is it? How do you do it? And then also where and Christine, I'm going to let you introduce yourself next, but what we're really passionate about is all of our experience bringing that to the smaller tax practitioner because we know that technology is automating the way the tax return is being done, freeing up the tax practitioner to be able to advise. And CAS and tax go hand in hand. We really want to help that person evolve through the use of technology and advisory services. So, Christine, do you want to share your background and a little of
Yeah,
your
thank you. Yeah, and thanks for having me as well. It's been a long journey. Deneen and I say this all the time. We try not to age ourselves, but in this space and in public accounting for 30 years, and was an early adopter in the CAS space. And so what we always say is we failed a lot. We did a lot of things wrong. Michelle and I, our other co-founder, started a long, long time ago, and everything that we did, it felt like it was like a year or two that it took to reverse those mistakes. So we were very passionate about coming to the community in this space of how could we help you and how could we, just bridge that gap of whether you have started a CAS practice and you're looking to evolve it or you haven't started at all, coupled with I ran, as a regional partner at a top 10 firm, and then also ran our national CAS tech team. So we are nerds at heart, which fares very well in this CAS space. John, to your point of just, what are we transforming? And the most that's transforming right now, we know is tech and AI. And so how do you transform and move the needle with still building and creating those relationships with a sustainable business model and revenue stream?
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
you make a good point about how you've had a lot of experience. You guys call it mistakes, but I call it just making having experiences as pioneers. The good news is for our listeners who are just now starting to think about this and getting into it, the tools have gotten so much better, right? So it's more difficult to make big mistakes, so to speak. You've got a lot more support behind you with the really all the powerful tools out there. So that's an important point for people like, there's a lot of practitioners that this is a little bit scary territory to make a big change for that. And they
Yes.
just need to know with people like what you have to offer with your CAS kit we're going to learn about and the software tools. It's definitely time. It's
And I
timely.
think, John, to your point, it's like there's so much out there, but it's just overwhelming. And it almost
Yeah.
just, you know, people just become stuck in that space because they're like, there's so much coming at me from a tech perspective. What direction do I go in? And
Yeah.
so just helping navigate through that too.
I have a question for you too, Christine, and you as well, Deneen. I mean, you both have transformed what you're doing, and you were early adopters. What is that mindset that you think is helpful for people to understand? As you know, John was just saying, you've got so many tools, and there's just a lot. So, how do you like pick up the reins and just say, "I'm going to go and do this"?
Christine, I'll let you start.
Well, we talk a lot about the mindset shift and culture shift because, growing up in a public accounting firm for 30 years, everybody wants to build it like they built their audit and tax practice. And it's such a different beast and it's such a different model and such a different service model that it's just backing up and understanding what those differences are. And also from that perspective, it's such a different tech model too. You have a substantial tech stack. And not that audit and tax aren't, coming along with all of their tech products too. But I mean, we're still using the same tax products that we've used for 30 years because they're great products. But that CAS tech stack just becomes substantial.
Mm-hmm.
I would say no longer do you have to grow at the rate of humans.
Mm-hmm.
And to Christine's point, now you can grow at the rate of tech. And so I feel like the smaller practitioner, technology is a great equalizer. They can build the advisory super fast with the technology that is coming out. It's super exciting. And I think a lot of the tax practitioners have stayed away from doing the client advisory services because it was very manual, it's very time consuming. Getting the data, cleaning up the data, reporting on the data was not profitable because it was so time consuming. And now the technology's changed that. The data is at their fingertips in a very exciting way. And it's in a way that the client really is hungry for. They want to talk about their business. They want to talk about their data. They want to talk about the future of their business. And so these are things that the tax practitioner is perfectly aligned to be able to talk to their customer in this new way.
I
We
think
were
it's,
talking. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say, I think an important part of this too is that it actually can be a fun service to offer
Yeah.
because now you're like you're bringing your clients forward because now they're moving more to truly cloud-based solutions. They can access their information on their mobile devices and helping bringing them into the 21st century too, which they definitely appreciate that.
So
Yeah, and I would just add though too, because people are afraid that AI is taking over and taking jobs. It should never take over those relationships. All that this tech should be doing is providing you the data to have that conversation with your clients. And so that's what's really exciting about it.
So you were saying the other day, Deneen, really that you guys are taking people on their CAS journey through all the tools that you have. So whether you're looking to start CAS or you have a established practice and it's kind of something that you've bootstrapped, but you really need to professionalize it and systematize it and upskill your team. I mean, that's where Infinite Ties shines, right?
Yeah.
And so you've been working on the FanCAS-Kit.
Yes. Should I
So
show
if
it?
you want to talk, yeah, show it, show and tell. Talk to
Yeah,
us about
but
it.
thank you for saying that because no matter where you are in your CAS journey, we have something for you. So the FanCAS-Kit is really geared towards folks getting started. However, we know there's a lot of people that have started in CAS and they're stuck. And so pausing and looking at your people and your processes and your tech stack is needed too. And so we have that all in the kit.
I would also add to that, even practices, Deneen, that are thriving, there's just still some gaps that you're filling with the kit as well.
Yeah. So on our website, Infinite Ties, we have information on the FanCAS-Kit, which we're saying is your master kit to master CAS. And something that you said, Gaynor, that really stuck with me is now you have a tool that allows you to build this at your own pace, at your own self-pace, but also online. We have created this kit to be very experiential. And what we really try to do is make it easy wherever you are at each of these phases. So we have 6 core buckets or phases that we walk the practitioner through. So the foundation, the CAS revenue strategy, the people part, the platform, operations, and process. And when you go to our website and you click on each one of these phases, you'll see how well Christine and Michelle have built this out. So within each stage, we have videos, we have documents. And so the foundation is introducing you to the kit, double-digit growth opportunities in CAS, assessing your existing CAS or write-up practice, and then who a worksheet to allow you work through who's your ICP, who's your ideal client profile. And then also we know a lot of these practices are still write-up practices. And so we also have a document that you can download, and I can click here to kind of show you behind the scenes what some of these documents look like. And so when you click on each section, you can download the document, but also we have information about the document. So we really have purposely built this in a way that you can easily go through each one and grab the tool that you need to work on the section that you want to work on wherever you are in your practice. Christine, do you want me to click on anything and talk through like the CAS revenue strategy, or you?
You know, if you just want to go into that one, I think, what we're trying to do is educate, all these practices on how many revenue streams there are, because I think that, I don't know that everybody really understands how much you can really do with CAS. And so within our revenue streams, we have 13 different types of revenue streams and documents and example language to use to your clients, example phases. In here too, we have a revenue projection matrix, which is just a simple Excel spreadsheet, but really starts getting you to think, how are you going to build this mix of your client base too? And so there's just a lot there that really, and there's a video that just walks you through everything. But what we're trying to equip everybody with is here's the actual documents, a starting point. We're not asking you to start from scratch. We're saying, take this and then make it your own.
And that's one of the things as I had a little demo the other day of this, and I've done a lot of training systems. I've participated in a lot of these training systems,
Avid
and
learner.
this actually, like, I was blown away by it because I'm like, I don't think I've seen one in the accounting profession that is as systematic. Like, somebody can sit down and learn this easily at their own pace. I'm not just saying that. I'm like, wow,
Thank
like, it's based on we've taken like the three of the best in CAS's brains and like put it in a format that everybody can use in their firm. Like it's amazing. It really is.
Thank you. We're very passionate about helping. We want to give
Yeah.
back and we want to help the profession through this shift. And we think that this is a tool that's going to help them get there faster. Because you said this, John, I think there is a confusion on what is CAS and how do I build CAS. And so while we did try to make it easy to buy the kit and work your way through each of the stages, I will say building CAS is not easy. So it is an investment of time. It's going to take some time and some strategic thinking, but we give you the tools to work through to make those decisions along the way.
And
Christine, yeah.
I was just saying,
Good.
it's such a big puzzle, right? There's so many pieces to the puzzle. And so a lot of people, like we all do, you get a client and you're like, okay, let's go run down this path and try to solve for what that one client needs, rather than stepping back for a second and saying, how could I build this? And I say these three words all the time, in a scalable, repeatable, sustainable model. And that's what we're just trying to bring to the community.
Yeah, I like
So
what
in
it
terms,
looks like you've put together the roadmap, and then you have the practice aids or tools to help them execute. And that's so important to CPAs. They like that. It's like there's a structured process that you have here. I have a question. So in terms of the tools, does your framework like have a recommended or preferred set of tools like QBO, or is it agnostic to the tools?
Well, I love that question, John. So we go through really what you need, and it's such a moving target. The tools are such a moving target because every GL platform is, excuse me, also solving for that within their platform, right? So then you have all these third party that are doing so many amazing things. So what we go through is we talk about what categories and buckets you need. We have in Infinite Ties, we are completely vendor agnostic, and we have declined all revenue share because we want to bring the best to the community and not just feel like we're bringing them in because it's to our advantage. So
Good.
we go through, I don't know if that answered your question, but we go through the buckets, when we work closely with firms, we'll give them all the vendors that are in that one bucket. And
Yeah.
And let them decide. The other thing we should mention, I'm glad you brought this up, is when you buy the kit to get started, you do get one seat within our Infinite Ties CAS community. And so bringing you in to be able to talk with other CAS folks, you have your peers in there that are building this or have built this, and then there's training within the community for the talent. But what Christine just mentioned is there's a vendor corner, and every month we spotlight a vendor. And a lot of these vendors, everyone like QBO, right? They're the Bill.com. They're already using these vendors. So when we invite them in, we want them to talk about everything that's new for firms and talk about what's on their roadmap. Because we want to keep our membership up to date. Because everybody's coming out with all these new releases. We were at the, Intuit Connect conference, and they announced all these AI agents. Well, after the conference, we brought them to our membership to say, well, okay, what did you announce? And what does that mean for firms right now? And so just also keeping them up to date on their current tech stack and all the new things that their current tech stack is coming out of is a big part of the community that we're
I would
building.
just say, yeah, we do the vendor spotlight, and we're really trying to change how vendors come into our space to sell, and where it's not a sales pitch. It's like, okay, that's doesn't resonate as much as it maybe used to. This is a relationship. This is solving for their pain points. And so we really work with our vendors to come in, and we're very protective of our members. And what our members love is that they get to see demos of the product, and the vendors don't get the list of who attended. It's like
A
they
safe
can't
place.
reach out to.
And we work with them in advance before they present to the membership, because Christine's right. A lot of these vendors have a direct, and they are talking to firms the way they talk to direct customers. And accountants have different problems that they need to solve than the direct customer. And so we really work with the vendors to make sure that they're talking to our membership about the challenges that firms have and the problems that the tech solves.
But to
Yeah,
that,
and I always advise practitioners that you shouldn't be afraid to sit in on vendor demos because vendors have a really good source of knowledge. They know the workflow. They've built their software to
Right.
do the best they think it can do at that workflow, so they can be great, learning experiences.
yeah.
Agreed.
But I mean, to the whole point of what you're providing in the, FanCAS-Kit is, I mean, it's the tech is like one little piece of it. I
Yes.
mean, it's an integral piece of it, but there's so much more
Yes.
to like building the practice, right? And I think
That's
that's
right.
where having the community, is important because, as you said, it's people who are on the same journey and on the same path. And, it's just what I really love is like this is so solid in terms of everything that's there, and it's laid out so well that it doesn't make it overwhelming. Because I think we talked about it the other day,
Yeah.
it's almost like when you think about CAS, it's like a big ball of yarn that people are trying to like.
Where do you
There's a
start
lot
on
of
one?
threads, and what you've done is taken the ball of yarn and made it into something more like a comfortable sweater that you
Yeah.
can
I love that.
put on, right? So I
Love
think
that
that,
concept.
yeah.
Also, I would just say, because you do get one user, we also have a 12-month training track for CAS, because what we're listening to all the firms, and they wanted us to come in and level set. And so we're level setting from a technical accounting perspective, but putting that advisory spin on absolutely everything. So trying to take, staff, seniors, whatever level. We have a lot of managers in our course that say that they are learning a ton, but how are you taking what you know and spinning in it in spinning it to that advisory perspective for the client. And so that's also included in the kit.
Mhm.
Interesting.
So we do have to ask, because I'm sure that's a burning question on everybody's mind. How do they get the FanCAS-Kit, and how does it factor into a firm budget?
Yes. So we actually, Gaynor, we're going to share with you a one pager after this that maybe you can share out
Yeah,
through
for
your
sure.
social channels with a QR code that you can purchase the FanCAS kit. It is $2,200 to purchase the kit, and then you have that kit for 12 months, as well as one seat into the Infinite Ties community for 12 months. And so, we think that's
Very
unbelievable. There's a
reasonable.
lot of value for that price point because what I didn't show is in the kit, we also have CAS specific engagement letters and a CAS statement of work. And Christine, do you want to talk about that? Because I think that alone is worth.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
the training track, that alone, the vendor corner, but the engagement letter is just what Michelle and I designed based on all the risk, right? You're using third party vendors and suppliers, but it's just, what are you thinking about when you have access to all of this data from a security standpoint, from a risk standpoint, and and I'm going to say, like, I have yet to see that a typical audit or tax engagement letter covers that CAS risk. And so that's, even if you have an engagement letter, take the pieces out of ours and fill in those gaps that you don't have. So that's a really, really important aspect too. And, from a price perspective, we talked to a small practice just this week, and they're like, you should be charging more. And we're like, no, this is like, we're really, really passionate about bringing really great content to the community. So I hope everyone finds the value in that.
Honestly, I think it is. I mean, it's an amazing value when you think about the amount of experience and the time it would take to try to replicate any of it. Like, I don't think you can because it's just, you've made the investment in all the learning yourself, and
Yeah.
now you're like sharing that, taking the brain and putting it into this format that's easily accessible. So I think that
Yeah.
it's an amazing
It's true.
value
I
for
think,
people.
we've just launched the kit, but it's years in the making.
Oh,
It's years in the making. It's Christine and Michelle's brain. It's their experience. It's documents that they've had to build their own practice. And we've just bundled that all together to help people, skyrocket CAS. That's our passion, and we're not done. There's more to come. This
Denise's
is
like,
just us getting
stop.
started.
Like, so I'm like, we got to put this in there. We got to do this. And Denise's
I
like,
know.
stop.
I know. Deneen was like, Christine, you just
Stop
need to
building.
like stop building this
Because we
now.
can do
But
more. Yeah.
from your perspective, like people can just start with the paying casket from like ground zero, right? Like a tax
Yes.
practice could say we're gonna do CAS and we're gonna like really make this work.
Yes.
Use the kit and build it from scratch. Like you don't need to have any background in CAS or
Well, I would say, I mean, everybody that's generally starting has a somewhat of an accounting background. So you do
an
need,
accounting background. Yes.
yeah, other than that, though, I mean, we're really trying to put all the pieces together for you. And like Deneen alluded to, this is tier one. We have 4 tiers. And so it's just going to keep building upon that, of really just honing in on how you build a really sustainable practice model.
And I
What do
To
you
think
answer
think
for,
that
is,
question,
oh, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry. Well,
I was
just
just gonna,
going back to that question, Gaynor, is in the people part, we recognize that these are going to be a lot of small tax practitioners that have 2 or 3 employees. And as they start building CAS, they are going to use the tech, but they're going to have to hire employees as well. And so we have job descriptions to help them with that, right? And so as they grow, then they can add their employees to the CAS community. So now there's a place for them to get supported. And so we have a process for every
Mhm.
step of the journey, but certainly really excited about helping people get started. John, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
oh, that's fine. No, I just wanted to make a point for our audience that, this is a great time to get into this because, especially with the proliferation of AI, we're in this new startup era of a lot of new businesses, entrepreneurial businesses,
Yes.
not
That's
just for
true.
accounting practices, but for any kind of business. And
That's
so for a
true.
lot of practitioners that have existing clients, they're like, yeah, I don't know, my client's already set up. I don't know if I can really help them, blah, blah, blah. But it's a great way to go into these new businesses that are coming on. They're going to be looking for this kind of service, and you've got kind of a clean slate to help them start, with a good foundation. So, to me, that's a really exciting opportunity and good timing for a tax firm to really start to go down this path.
Yeah, I think it's super easy with new clients. I do think it's harder with your current clients to say, "Hey, we're doing something new, and we've never done this with you before, but now we're going to." But we've thought about that, and we have. I do feel like there's such a strong relationship that there is a
Mhm.
way to comfortably go to your current clients and say, "Hey, we've worked together for 10 years, and when you started, you were 2 million in revenue, but now you're 5 million in revenue, and there's
Mhm.
so much more we can do for you now. We know
Yeah.
that you're going through some pain with that growth, and we want to be the advisor that helps you. And then are your goals for going from 5 million to 10 million? Okay, great. Let me be the person to help you go from 5 to 10." And so there are ways to go to your current client base to say, "Hey, we've been watching you, we've been helping you in one way, but we think now is the time for us to get even more involved and help you continue to grow."
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that makes
like
good sense. Yeah.
you have your bookkeeping write-up practice, and so we always just tell firms too, we're not building a model based on what you have. We need to build a model based on what you want.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I mean, that's a great place for people to start with that mindset, right? Like,
Yeah.
what is it that I want? And I'm always looking for a good, credible shortcut. Like, why would you do all of the
Yeah.
legwork of trying to do this yourself without the knowledge because you've never done it before? It's like instead learn from the experts with like a systemized approach, and then you've got the community of other people who are also doing the same thing. So
Right.
it's a good recipe for success for sure. Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for joining us on Moving the Needle. John, did you have any last questions or words of wisdom?
Yeah, well, I think you're right on track with what you're doing, Christine and Deneen. I think that there's a lot of practitioners out there. Because I was just speaking this morning with a small group in the Detroit area of CPAs. They're nervous. I mean, they're
Mhm.
Yeah.
hearing all these things. And they're feeling like their tax service is going to get automated out of business. So how
Yeah.
do I go? What do I do next, and how do I get there? Well, you guys have the roadmap, the kit. So I think that you're going to have really good success.
Yeah,
Thanks, John. We do think the time is now. Absolutely. There's a lot happening, but we're excited about all the opportunity
yeah,
and try to do it in a way that shouldn't be scary.
yeah.
Right.
Because I
And
know that people are worried and we're saying, "Oh, there's so much opportunity here. Don't be worried. We're going to
Mhm.
help you."
I think too, John's point about the firm that was, or the practitioners who are worried. I was talking to, a firm, and they're kind of embracing the opportunity to acquire other
Mhm.
practices who don't want to make the journey, so to speak. And then they're basically developing, it's like a branch partner model with franchises where people don't have to buy into like a franchise, but the reason I bring this up is because without having a system like what you're helping
Right.
people build, you're not going to be able to scale your practice. So I think that's where, I mean, Infinite Ties is really helping light the way on that. It's not just about upskilling the team that you already have. It's about building the practice model that you
Right.
want with a system that's already been proven. So I think
Proven.
that's great. Well, thank you so
Great.
much, and we
Thank you.
will see everybody later.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Gaynor and John.
Bye.